So guess what? I believe I'm turning into a culinary artist. I spent the day whipping up some Middle Eastern delicacies, and you won't believe the burst of flavors. It feels like a journey, really. Like you're leaving one place and reaching another without ever moving. Got to love food for that, right? Rachel, the culinary guide I found on the internet, suggested trying kibbeh, and boy, emotionally and gastronomically, it did not disappoint. You know, it's fascinating how the complexity of flavors in these dishes can be related to the intricacies of Middle Eastern art. Nina suggested a cook-off, and the heat is on, my friend. Oh, the kitchen warfare that's gonna ensue. Maybe I'll hit her with some of these Middle Eastern masterpieces, let her taste buds travel a little. Yeah, and between us, she might just be in for a surprise defeat. Knowing her, though, she'll come prepared, drama on her side, determination in her eyes. She always craves that thrill, that rush. Speaking of thrill, she's been on a murder mystery spree on Netflix. Nina always loved tense, gripping plot lines. Figures she'd get a kick out of those, too. You know, I often think about how everyone has their unique way of experiencing thrill. From her murder mysteries, to my complex flavors, or even our shared love for stunning sunsets. There's a certain thrill to witnessing nature's art, holding your breath as the sun dips low, painting the sky with hues warmer than our hearts. Life's full of these beautiful dichotomies, isn't it? Then there's the thrill of creating art, of infusing life into mundane matter. And what's life, if not art? You're putting a bit of yourself in every stroke, every shade, every texture. Sometimes it gets overwhelming, making you question your worth, your ability. You know, good old artist anxiety. One minute you're soaring on the wind of inspiration, the next you're spiraling down the black hole of self-doubt. It's madness, really, but it's the kind of madness I'd willingly get lost in time and time again. Anyway, back to my thrilling culinary adventure. Cook-offs got me thinking. Maybe we should try this, chow down some good food, have a little fun competition. What do you say, amigo? Fair warning, though, I'm packing some serious heat. I mean, have you ever been defeated in a cook-off by a guy who usually paints his dinner rather than cook it? Now that's something to ponder. And speaking of painting, I have a few sketches that are crying out for some attention. The paints are calling, and the brushes feel neglected. So you remember Nina, right? We've been planning the early morning art neighborhood visits. Well, it finally happened. What a quiet serenity you get to experience, man, while the city is still rubbing its eyes open. I mean, it's like walking through a gallery of unattended stories, merely waiting for the sun to grace them with light. Have you ever seen the Lower East Side at the break of dawn, bathed in this gentle glow sailing in from the East River? It's like a Monet's palette brought to life. There's something rather poetic about the city. Just when you think it's sleepy, it surprises you with an unsuspected wave of tranquility. And oh, amidst all the beauty, guess where I ended up? A tiny patisserie with croissants that would make you question every other one you've ever had. Now isn't that something? From an adventure in art to a tasty delight, New York always has a way to keep the heart filled with joy. Remember how we talked about turning every negative emotion into an art piece? Well, it's not so much different today. I walked around those empty streets and saw art in the silence, the loneliness, the stillness. Sure, it all sounds melancholy, but packaged just right. It's your very own tranquil symphony. Nina legitimately suggested to taste those croissants and give up on sleep entirely. Can you just imagine the bed hair and zombie eyes just for a croissant? No doubt art does make you surrender. In this case, not before my own canvas, but the culinary masterpieces of some hidden patisserie. Still, there's intense joy in trading sleep for these serendipitous mornings. It's like a reward to the mystic, meandering mind, allowing it to soak in those soothing sights, experiencing the unexperienced. I tell you, amigo, this city is a canvas waiting to be sketched at the crack of dawn. Speaking of which, the Guggenheim Commission is shaping up quite dandy. But let me tell you, it does serve its own mixed cocktail of thrill and anxiety, the perfect drink for an artist. Juggling so many creative raw thoughts, organizing them, and then expressing them into art can be quite a road to ride. But it definitely feels like I'm playing my best music piece on an artist's palette. Before I take flights of fancy with my thoughts, I gotta get back to reality, back to my canvas whispering tales of dawn to me. Always remember, each stroke is a word in the language of art, waiting to speak out and touch the world. Now, amigo, ain't life an art piece? I had one of those introspective days today, the kind that you and we often discuss. You know, my art world isn't just about colors and canvases, it's about the people too. It's about the folks who appreciate the art, the ones who see bits of their souls in my brush strokes. So guess what I did? I decided to spend a day with Lisa, that art collector we met at the exhibit last month. Trying to see what art means to her, you know, taking a dip into her pool of perspective. Man, it was fascinating. Who knew you could learn so much about art by simply watching someone look at it, feel it? We discussed our favorite classics, and some of them mirrored like Picasso's work, undefinable yet undeniably expressive. Art, it's a different language, ain't it? One that speaks volumes in silence. That chat with Lisa made me think how my art feels to others, made me wonder what messages my colors and canvases whisper into the ears of its beholders. We also detoured a bit, took off on a gastronomic adventure, Lebanese style, had the best falafel of my life. It was a curious adventure, you know, from the canvas to the platter. Sort of like painting a palette of flavors onto your taste buds. And speaking of good food and good people, what about a good old cook-off with Nina next week? Oh, watch out for Nina. She's a warrior in disguise, ready to set the kitchen battleground on fire, quite literally. Then, there was something Nina said today, made me think. She said, if my art could stand the test of time, it got to me a little, but you know what? That's the beauty of it all. It's all part of this grand tapestry of colors and emotions, strokes and stories, and whether or not it stands the test of time, well, isn't that an adventure in itself? It's a dance with uncertain emotions, with creativity, with artistic integrity and reality. You know, sometimes I feel like an eternal student, learning and growing every day. Today was one of those days, and these little lessons, they layer up, adding complexity, depth to who I am as an artist.